you leave, I won't take it personally. And I think that's something that's important to kind of keep in mind at Tiff, kind of not to take things personally, because it's been a 25-year journey for me at this festival. My first Tiff experience was when I was 18. And for my birthday, my friend Bob Martin, he gave me a ticket to a Lily Tomlin, Steve Martin movie called All of Me. It was screening at the Uptown. And I went to see this film, and I went with my friend Megan Follows. And she just done a series in LA with Steve Martin. So after the film, this limo pulled up, and Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin were in the limo, and they asked us to join them to a Roots party. And Roots used to have all these parties. And they, in fact, used to have a store right at the end of my street. I live at Avenue in Davenport. One of their first stores was at that corner. And at this party, there were a whole bunch of cool people, a lot of international people, buyers and sellers kind of in nooks and crannies of this sort of basement party place. But Abby Hoffman was there. Abby Hoffman was at the bar, and he seemed to be really impressed that I lived on the same street that was kind of like hosting this party. It was really, and that I'd lived there since I was 8 years old, that I'd never really moved. In fact, I still live in the same house that I lived in since I was 8 years old. My 2 kids have been born in that house. And that sense of home and groundedness really kind of impressed him. And of course, I was like, oh my God, Abby Hoffman. And 5 years later, I did a film. I acted in a film called Steal This Movie, which was the Abby Hoffman story. Vincent D'Onofrio played Abby Hoffman. And I had like 20 days on this film, and we were shooting during the film festival. So this is about like 20-ish years ago. And Vincent D'Onofrio was in it, Kevin Corrigan, Donal Logue, Janine Garofalo, and Jean Triplehorn. And they had, of course, they knew a lot of people. So through them, I had access to a TIFF that I have never experienced since, but that I know is out there. And it was kind of like, okay, no, I just have to paint this for you because it sort of speaks to how big, how epic, how amazing, how kind of overwhelming this festival can be. So there was a movie, Ben Stiller was in a film called Permanent Midnight. There was a permanent midnight party. Everyone was at that party. Jon Favreau was in a film. I don't think it was Swingers. I think it was something else. Vince Vaughn was in Clay Pigeons. Jean Triplehorn and Christian Slater were in a film called Very Bad Things. So I had access to all these kind of indie American parties. And I started, I was in 20 or something, a little past 20. And I got the sense of, okay, so there is the whole U.S. level. There's the U.S. level of films and parties, of press, of buying and selling. Then there's the international level. There's the international level of screenings and parties and industry buying and selling. Then there's the whole Canadian level. Like there's the telefilm parties and the OMDC receptions and the Canadian distributors and the Canadian sort of press and the industry level. And then there's the audience. There's the public. There's actually the people that are buying tickets to come and see our film. And then there's just all the people that are filmmakers that get passes to see the films. And it's so big that it's hard to not feel like you should be somewhere else. Like you're on one rooftop and there's 50 million things happening on other rooftops and you sort of are trying to straddle everything. And I would say just be where you are. Be where you are. And I really agreed with what Charlotte was saying about the fact that we've worked so hard on making our films. We've spent our own money, or we've got funding, or it's some combination. It's been a 1-year journey, or it's been a 10-year journey, and we're at TIFF. That is such a huge accomplishment. So to just enjoy that, because I've gone through many festivals. I've had 2 short films at the festival, a short film called So Beautiful that was directed by Jacob Wren, and my CFC short that I produced called Three Sisters on Moon Lake, which was directed by Julia Kwan, who used that film actually as a calling card to direct Eve and the Fire Horse, which won the Audience Award at Sundance. 2 shorts and 11 features. 11 features if I combine the features I've acted in, like Phil the Alien and On Their Knees, or the features I've produced, The Limb Salesman, Gambling Gods and LSD, Picture of Light, also documentaries in there, or the films that I've written, co-written, Nurse Fighter Boy, Only, last year was Modra. So 11 feature films, and I'm still just figuring it out. I'm still figuring it out, and it's been an accumulative thing. So I'm going to talk specifically about Modra last year and what my approach was with that film and what the result was. How many people are familiar with Modra? Have you heard of this film? A few people? Okay. Not quite half of you. All right. How many people have seen Modra? Oh, see, that is depressing to me. That is a little bit depressing. It is on iTunes. It's on Netflix. You can buy the DVD on Amazon. But, it kind of exhibits that you can never do enough, because I hustled. I hustled hard last year, and I'm going to hustle again this year with my film called I Am a Good Person, I Am a Bad Person. But okay, I'm going to talk about Modra. So, Modra is a film that was shot in a small rural village in Slovakia with no stars, 2 unknowns, a 17-year-old boy and my daughter, who was 17 at the time, and the rest of the cast was my Slovak family. So I decided that I wasn't going to treat this like the next blockbuster. And I didn't want a lot of machinery. I mean, I really appreciate what distributors do and sales agents and producer reps and all of that. But I decided I was going to take it one step at a time. So first, we hope the film gets into Tiff. It gets into Tiff. We know then we have a platform to reach industry and audiences. My first goal was to sell out my screenings. That was all I wanted. I wanted bums and seats at my screenings so that people would see it on a big screen the way it was meant to be seen and heard. And then I thought, if I got good reviews, because if I didn't, no distributor would be interested anyway. So if I got good reviews, and if there started to be a buzz, maybe distributors would come. So I did not give out any DVD screeners. And no distributors approached me either in Canada, although there were a lot of American sales agents and distributors that approached me. I don't know, I've already received like 20 emails. I don't know about you guys, but I've received 20 emails from people saying, wow, we've heard about your film at TIFF and it's got a lot of buzz. In fact, no, they don't know that, because the couple of people that sent me those emails are people that I had like 20 conversations with last year, and they don't remember that they're sending it to the same person. So it's kind of a blanket thing that they send out to everybody. I got a lot of those from Modra. I decided I was not going to send out any DVD screeners. And then at the last minute, people thought I was crazy, because there is an approach to the fact that this is your world premiere. This is the opportunity to get, the buyers want to take advantage of the world premiere. So then I started to get a bit cold feet, and I thought, okay, I'm going to pick 5 sales agents, and I'm going to send them a DVD, maybe. I started talking to these sales agents, and I started to sort of look at their catalog of films they had in the past, and I thought, there's no way they're going to take on this film, because ultimately I didn't think I had a film, not in a bad way, but I didn't think I had a film that had the Scott Speedman or had the name cast that was going to generate a lot of revenue. So I thought, you know what? No, I made contact with these people. They know my film exists. I sent them the P&I schedule, and I thought, anybody worth their salt is going to give my film 5 minutes. They're going to give my film 5 minutes. And if they don't give it 5 minutes, because I have 3 press and industry screenings and 2 public screenings, or the other way around, 2 press and industry screenings and 3 public screenings. If people who say they're really interested in my work can't make it to one of those screenings, or can't send someone to get to one of those screenings, even for 10 minutes, it's probably not going to be a really, really fruitful relationship anyway. So I decided that I stuck to my guns, even though I was a little bit like in the last minute panic, thinking maybe I'm going to blow the opportunity of, maximizing my world premiere. Didn't send out DVDs, and the buzz started to come, and the reviews started to come. And I have to say that I hit the ground running a bit because, first of all, there's 18 family members in this film. I invited them all to come. Fortunately, 4 of them could make it. So I brought over my aunt, my 2 cousins, and my other cousin, actually, 3 cousins and my aunt. I brought them over on condition that they bring their traditional Slovak costumes. I think this was spoken about. My mother was born in this village. She also has a traditional Slovak costume. So I printed 1,000 postcards. I printed these postcards, and they walked around every single day of the festival with baskets, and they had a route. We were screening at the AMC. They took the subway to Yonge and Dundas. They started at AMC. They walked through Yonge and Dundas Square. They hit Queen Street, Queen and Yonge. They walked along Queen. Then they went down John Street. They hit the Lightbox and the Hyatt Hotel. They went all through the Hyatt Hotel, and then they went back again. That was their route every single day. They had like sandwiches in their basket or whatever, and they handed out these postcards. And they also kind of parked themselves around the box office. And I can't tell you how many people ended up seeing Modra when they couldn't get tickets to the gala or whatever that they wanted because they got a postcard from my mom, who was dressed in this costume. And they were also singing Slovak folklore songs. So they're singing Slovak folklore on the streets, handing out postcards. My mom, of course, is a big fan of making these buttons. So as soon as we got into Tiff this year, I've got a button press. She does them one at a time, so they're like, very limited edition. But she makes the buttons. We have the postcards. We never run out of the postcards. And that was the thing that actually started to generate some buzz. And I constantly really did have people saying to me, well, I met your mom. I'm here because of your mom. I'm here because of your aunt. I talked to your cousin. I got a postcard. We couldn't resist. We promised that we would come, and then we felt bad if we didn't show up. And just a sense of guilt, good guilt. So the 4 people were on the streets. They were in the Slovak costumes. They had the postcards. The reviews started to come. And then we sold out our screenings. The first day the tickets went on sale, we had I still have it on my iPhone, the sold out sticker was on the big board outside the box office. So we sold out. So I was really excited about that. And for the press and industry screening, I was really curious to see who was going to come. And I can say that to my first press and industry screening, 1 distributor came. Of all the Canadian distributors, 1 came. And it was Carolyn from Mongrel. And she liked the film. And so I really had this idea of wanting to make a sale. I had money from Telefilm in this film. I really wanted to close a deal by the end of Tiff. It wasn't a goal from the outset. It was a goal that was an accumulative one based on other things falling into place. So once things seemed to be going well, I had it in my sights to make a sale. And what also had happened was CBC was following me. CBC Radio was following me, and they were kind of doing a day-by-day report on, can this, little film on the fringe score a sale at Tiff? And I also really wanted to give them a happy ending. Like, I really, really did. So on my first press and industry was on a Wednesday or a Tuesday. My second was on a Thursday. Now, Hussein, the president of Mongrel, is really the guy that makes the final decision. So I called him. I said, I know Carolyn was in the house. She said she liked it. I want to close a deal by Friday at noon. So will you come to my Thursday press and industry? He came, and by Friday, like at 10 a.m., I got a call from him. By 11, we had closed a deal. By 12, CBC was at Mongrel reporting live that I closed the deal. And my last screening was Friday night, so I was able to announce it at my last public screening that we closed a deal, and it was all over the CBC News. And my big Hollywood moment was that on the way to that screening, I had The Hollywood Reporter, Screen International, and Variety, like juggling who would get the first blip out on that Mongrel sale. So it brought the film credibility. Telefilm was happy. I was very happy to have the sale to Mongrel. It meant that now it's on iTunes. You can constantly see it. It's not like that there's this dead gap between festival and then theatrical and then television. It did festival, it did Canada's top 10, which is an amazing stat because people were reminded about the film. There was great energy about the film. More people saw it, and then the people that weren't able to see it at TIFF and on the top 10 came to the release in February. So it could not have been better for this little tiny film. And then TV just happened, and Air Canada happened, but I didn't have a big agenda going into the festival, and I think that for me, we can get really quickly bogged in all the things we should be doing, and we can lose sight a little bit of the things we want to be doing and of the celebration factor. So I would just say, do everything you can, and regret as little as possible. So, for example, last year I missed the director's brunch because I was sending emails out to people, and I really, really regretted that. I was at the Thompson Hotel, and I've never been at the Thompson Hotel. So this year it's like, no matter what, I'm not missing that director's brunch for anything. So oftentimes, too, I've been at festivals where everybody's having meetings. They're on patios and they're in hotels, and I'm thinking, well, I don't have any meetings. I've never organized a meeting ahead of the festival in my life. I've never pre-arranged a meeting. So then I thought maybe that's the thing, like go through the list and pre-arrange meetings. And then I always felt like, I have all these meetings, and then I wasn't able to see films, and I wasn't able to do that flexible sort of lateral thing, which is meeting someone on the street and they tell you about something and you can't go there because you have a meeting. So I would say I really agreed with what Charlotte said about letting there be some flexibility. Have some things that anchor your festival. Of course, do all the things you feel like you want to do. Touch base with people that you want to connect with because you have this amazing opportunity of having a film. You're not just like have a film in development. You do, but you have a film that's actually screening that people can come and see. That's gold. It's golden. It's real. It's credible. No one can take it away from you. So you have a place for people to gather, and it's around your film. And try and see a film every day because you start to feel really icky. I think, there's so many amazing films that come to this film festival, and many of them never really hit the big screens in our city again. So I basically try to see a film a day, no matter what. Have a couple of things scheduled that are kind of anchors, but allow a lot of flexibility for those spontaneous interactions, the way we do when we make a film. I mean, when we make films, we have the map, we have the script, but what I really try to do is to be open to those spontaneous accidents and incorporate them, grab them. You hope they're going to happen. If you're just executing the script, I mean, that should be the bottom line. That should be the least your film is. But the most it could be is going in with the foundation of your script, going in with the foundation of your vision, all the things you want to do at the festival, and then being flexible for the accidents and the spontaneous unknown things to happen, because those have been the most magical. And the other thing I would say is expand your tribe in terms of, sometimes we all clump together. We clump with people that we know. It's comforting. We're all a little bit raw at these festivals. We get nervous to various degrees about talking about our film or about introducing our film. So we kind of gravitate towards the familiar at parties. I would say try and meet 10 new people every day. Just try. You don't have to be pushy about it, but some people that I've met because I was like on person 9, and I just randomly turned around to someone and said, I'm on person 9 and I need 10, and so can I just talk to you and so I can say I met you? Like, for example, one person I'm thinking of in particular, I have become really, really good friends with because I saw that person at different festivals, and the relationship has developed from this weird, awkward thing in a line to a really meaningful relationship over like a 5 or 7 year span. So sometimes, in terms of these follow-ups, you meet people and you have a connection, and maybe you send them an email and they never respond. Be patient too. People, it is a thing that takes time to build, so we can be a little bit easy on ourselves. And I think that still there's people that I've seen over the past 20 years that when they meet me don't remember who I am, and they look at me like they have never met me before in their lives. So you kind of got to roll with that. roll with that. It's not personal. The festival is a crazy, crazy, hectic time, and people are juggling a million things, like you heard Charlotte describe. Let me just see what else. So on the... a little bit back to the marketing side, I think when I was observing, when you guys were kind of talking about your films, that you mumbled your titles a little bit. Like I already mentioned this to Sarah. She's like, blah, 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 Hidden Driveway. And I totally did not understand your title. You, Doppelganger, something, I didn't hear the end of it. You absolutely didn't understand. I don't know if you mentioned your title. Okay, you didn't even mention it. Okay, who is the film, one film, Pedestrian Jar? Was that you? Okay, you really kind of said it distinctly. I think we have to, my career started as an actress, and then kind of in my teens, and then my 20s was producing, and now it's sort of been writing and producing and directing. And as a producer, I have no problem talking about people's films. I'm very, very clear, and I can synopsize. I can do the elevator pitch, the cocktail pitch, the panel pitch, the pitch, this pitch. I could do any pitch. For my own films, it's tricky. It's really, really tricky. The line between doing it right and doing it wrong, although I don't really believe in wrong. I just believe we just try things, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But I think it's just a learning, but we have to kind of embrace this this opportunity, and we can't be ashamed. I feel like there's a bit of apology sometimes. Like I have to get over the fact that in this film I am the sole writer, director, producer, and co-star. How un-Canadian can you get? That's like really. It's too much, it's pushing it. So when I talk about the film, I never say that I'm acting in it. It just feels like too much. And I just usually say I'm the director because it's kind of like I'm the producer as well. And the director side of me is just going, oh my God, chill out. But the producer side of me is saying, this is your duty. And in fact, I really believe that we make these films and we gather all these people in front of the camera and behind the camera to be in these films with us, right? We form this family. And this is the next big, most important step, especially because we have this opportunity to reach an audience, is it's our duty to market these films. It's our responsibility to market these films. There is no shame in it. There is no apologizing. We have to let people know our films exist. If they don't know they exist, how do we expect them to come? They're not going to come. We're competing with films that have huge marketing budgets. You know, the way I distribute features is like it's the same approach to the shorts. It's no different for me. I'm trying to get as many people to know my film exists. I'm trying to get as many eyeballs on my film. I'm trying to get as many people to see the film on a big screen with great sound, because that might be it. I don't know if my films are going to get a theatrical distribution. I really don't know. Maybe the next opportunity for people to see films will be on their laptop computer or on their phone. This might be it. So I want to get as many people in. So we have to cultivate a sort of clarity about celebrating the fact that we've made these films, that people have joined us to make these films, that it's got this incredible platform at TIFF. Say your name. You know, when you're like going to talk to someone, put your name out there, put the film, the title of your film out there, put it out there clearly. Don't mumble that stuff, because Peter Howell's going to go away. Maybe he remembered one or two, but he should have remembered all of your films, all of your names, all of your titles. So we're planting seeds constantly. And it doesn't mean that the first person we talk to will come. But what, you know, we all know and we've experienced is they hear it from 4 or 5 different sources. So they meet you at a reception. They get your name. They kind of get your title. My title's long, so they might remember good, bad, something. They're not going to. I've got like the most, you know, like abstract poster there is. Probably like no distributor would go for this poster. But I want to make a poster, a postcard that like I want to put on my wall. So I like to have like little more sort of art piece things. So maybe they'll remember your film title. Maybe they'll remember my hair. They'll remember your earrings, your great colored earrings. They'll remember you, your vibe. You're from Nova Scotia, your headband. They'll remember you guys are like young and spunky and just out of school, and you're here with your first feature, and it's like, woo. They're going to remember things about you, but they still might not come to your film. What's going to get them to come to your film? It's an accumulative thing. They've met you, they liked you. Then they read a good or mixed review. Maybe it's bad, but it piques their interest. They've seen it again. Then they're in a lineup at a reception, and someone's kind of saying something about it often. Now it's 3 times. Then maybe it's 4 times. Then maybe they'll actually come to the film. We can't do it enough. I mean, we just can't simply do it enough. The fact that only 3 people have seen Modra displays that, like, you can never do too much. But you do it in a way that's true to you. Maybe somebody's really outgoing, so they can hype their film in a certain way. Maybe someone else is really shy and they have a different approach. So there's no one rule about how to do it. You've got to find your own way, and it starts with how you look, how you dress. It represents the film you make, how you want to be seen. Like, put thought into that stuff, you know? Because this 10 days that we're together, it goes by incredibly fast. It's really distilled. It can be really overwhelming, and you can get to the other side of it and go, oh my God, I don't even know what happened. So be present for it. Think about it. Think about how you want to talk about your film. You know, really make it cut through all the noise of the other films. What's going to set your film apart? And all of us have something in our film. For Modra, it was the Slovak angle. There has never been a Slovak-Canadian feature film in the history of cinema. There has never been a Slovak-Canadian film. So the Slovaks were very, very proud, and that spread to all Eastern Europeans, the Hungarians, even the Russians, the Ukrainians, the Poles. So many people started to kind of come around to see Modra. So having my family from Slovakia here for the very first time in Canada, they spent a lot of time at Hooters, actually. They were really impressed by Hooters. But having them here on the streets was the right hook for that film. Did it have, I mean, there's a folklore scene in the film, but it was just, it captured the aura of that film. Now, my new film, I'm finding a new hook. Do you want me to tell you what it is? Okay, well, just really, in the film, I walk around with a sign. It says, I'm a good person, I'm a bad person. Sometimes it flips around. So my daughter and I made a whole bunch of these signs, and I'm paying my son, who's in the film, so he has something to get out of it, and his friends. This is going to sound really horrible. I'm not going to tell you how much I'm paying them. But they can buy like a Starbucks coffee or something. So I'm paying them a certain amount to do that same route. And they're in a pack, so they can have some fun. They're going to be equipped with postcards and these signs. They're pink with blue painted letters and then sparkly green and yellow. And same replica of what I wore in the film. And they're going to do the route for the 10 days. That's what they promised me anyway. I don't know. I might have to pay them a little bit more. But basically, they're going to be on the streets. And again, it's like, use your crews. I mean, your crews have something to gain by people coming to the film. My crew is 2 people, 1 camera person, 1 sound recordist. So I'm really happy, actually, that my film is screening with a short, actually Sarah's short, Hidden Driveway. And my son, who's in my film, is also the co-star of her film. So I think your crew is, what, like 20 people? Okay, so I'm really counting on you guys to do the grassroots, because you're 20, I'm 2, right? So, I mean, my 2 people know a lot of people, but if we put ourselves together, what, like we've got 450 seats to fill? Like, I think I gotta fill 750 seats over the course of the festival. 750 seats, I'm doing it. So we can kind of work together. And the shorts, I mean, you guys are in a program with other shorts, and you should probably know very soon who, when the schedule comes out, who you're programmed with. You should band together. You could be a tribe on the streets, and you should band together. All the shorts in your program should work together, because if you know, it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for all your cast. It's a win-win for the filmmakers, for the crews, for the producers, for the writers. So you guys should band together and strategize how to hit the streets to just blow the lid off your screenings. Just blow the lid off. And each, you know, you can kind of get really, really creative. That's the good thing about shorts. You're totally free. The sky's the limit in terms of imagining and brainstorming over marketing ideas that don't have to cost a lot of money. Features that don't have distributors, yeah, I mean, we're totally free as well. We can invent anything around our films and how to get people to our films. So just some practical things. You heard about press kits. I mean, my press kit is basically a one line, like a cut line, something you'd see on the poster, a one sentence or two line synopsis, a one paragraph synopsis, and then a one page synopsis. Then I generally do a director's notes, or this year I didn't do director's notes, I just did a Q&A with myself. So I ask myself questions and I answer, and then I do a Q&A sort of interview with my cast, including my DP, my editor, and then I put in the full credits. Sometimes people say you don't have to put in the full credits, but I like to put in the full credits. I like to see exactly, who worked on the film. So the full credits are in my press kit, and sometimes I'll add quotes from my last film. So if it got some good reviews, I'll do a quote sheet. And then as reviews and I gather quotes for the new film, I replace that quote sheet with the current quotes. And I'm gathering quotes. I mean, I use Facebook a lot. I'll probably start tweeting for the first time at this film festival this year, but I'm constantly, as soon as something's written or there's a mention, I'm pulling and I'm building my quote sheet for the film and I'm putting that out there. Postcards, I can't talk highly enough about postcards, and I can tell you guys that there's a place called Boss Logo. Have you heard of Boss Logo? It's an online thing. You just go bosslogo.com, and 500 postcards, very good quality. You can get matte or glossy. Cost me $30. So the way I do it is this is my first step of postcards. So my first step of postcard is just the information. It's essentially my poster. On the back, I have a brief synopsis. It's generally my paragraph synopsis. I leave a little section for stickers, but other festivals get the stickers. Tiff doesn't get the stickers. Tiff gets a new round of postcard with all the screening information printed because it's not expensive. So my first round has this open space, so I'll keep them for later. My title, my name, the specs, like the year, the country, the language, the running time, the final screening format, the sound spec, color or black and white, my contact information. People are always aghast. This is my personal email. I give it to everybody, and I don't really get that inundated. So it's my personal email and the website. So bosslogo.com. The next step of this is, now that I'm in the festival, and very soon we'll find out what our confirmed schedule is, I'll put on the back in this area, I'll put the Tiff logo for official selection 2011, and I'll condense this and I'll put all the P&I and public screening info on the back. And that'll cost me another $30, or maybe I'll splurge and spend $45 and get 1,000 of them. But it's really, really worth it because they can act as a business card. People can fold it, put it in their pocket. They can be handouts. They have all your information on one little thing, and they know exactly where to reach you. They have information about the film, and they have some technical stuff about your movie. Buttons, I'm a fan of buttons. I remember. Who was it? The Corporation had a ton of buttons. Mark Akbar used to walk around with bags of thousands of buttons, and I used to see everybody with the Corporation buttons all over them. I'm okay, I'm on the button tip. So I don't really go, I kind of do the handmade thing because I'm kind of I make these little handmade films. So this year I have good and bad buttons in all different colors. I'm always wearing two, mostly because I don't want to be judged about being good or bad. So I put both of them on. My daughter's not really wearing them, but she's gonna come around. She's gonna come around to wearing them. My son's wearing them, and his street team will definitely be wearing them. Also, last year I did stickers. I put stickers everywhere, and it really makes me happy when I'm locking my bike on a post and I see a Modra sticker, which I still tend to see all over the city. So stickers also are really inexpensive. You got to be a bit careful with stickers in terms of where you put them, because chances are people will know it's you. So So you can't really hide. So you got to be a little bit careful. But stickers are fantastic, and people love stickers and slapping them on guitar cases or whatever cases, luggage cases. And I put them on like on the back of my phone. I'm always talking on my phone, right? So I'm like, the sticker's always there. So people get that. Stickers, postcards, buttons. Are you guys doing any of that? Are you thinking of that stuff? Yes? Postcards? Yes? You've got ideas, you're doing it, not very expensive, you can just do it yourself? Yes. Delivery turnaround, you mean? Yeah. 1 week. Bosslogo.com, 1 week turnaround. At that place? Well, not that place. Well, not one of those Boss Logo, or yes, I've paid way too much money for postcards as well when you go to actually a printing place. These guys are set up for business cards, postcards, and it's very inexpensive. My designer told me about it. And just one thing about website, this year for Modra, okay, Hallie, do you guys want these postcards? Can I hand them out to you? Because I just want you to have this information. I want you to go to my website, and if you haven't seen Modra, see it, okay? So just do that. Hallie, can you hand these out? Just the quick thing about website. For Modra, the reason I'm handing out the Modra cards is I did a full Modra website, which when you go there, you'll see. But for I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, which is completely 100% self-financed and very sort of micro budget, I really didn't end up doing a whole new page. What I did do was I have a Punk Films page. It has kind of all my films of the last 5 or so years. And I just did a big banner at the top. It just has the title of the film, and then it has links to my Facebook page, my IMDb page, the Tiff page. Tiff has got a logo right there in the center, and so it's a live link to the Tiff page, which will have all the scheduling information. A press kit link that downloads a PDF of the press kit, a media stills link, which just goes to a page. I have a lot of stills. I like a lot of stills. For me, it's a little kind of, I do behind the scenes stills 11, and I have production stills 11, and then I have a bank of other stills, all 300 DPI downloadable with a caption sheet, PDF downloadable. So it's just like a media stills link to my stills, and the last thing is a poster link. So it's just like a little poster icon. They click it, it downloads a JPEG poster very quickly, very easily. That cost me $300. So, I mean, we all know people in the graphics world. If you don't, I can recommend some people. You could get a really simple page, just very basic. You have to know what you want your content to be. What ends up costing is you're starting to switch the content. Oh, you want to replace that synopsis with this synopsis, and you want the instead of then, and that's what ends up costing money. But if you just submit your content once, this is my press kit, my poster, the Tiff link, and if you've got any other links on one page, $200. I think you can get it done for $200. And that's when you put the information on your postcard and media knows exactly where to go. And then down the road, after the festival, you can just set up a quick link to streaming your short film online, wherever. So it's really economical. And again, you're directing people. You're in control of where you're directing people. You're directing them with one URL, and they're going there and they're getting the information you want them to get. You can also do an RSS feed. So as you start getting some buzz and press on your film, you can just do a link to that feed, and then all of that press stuff will come up. Yeah.
This is just on the postcard tip, but what I found is super effective is find out who in your city prints up club flyers, because they tend to, every Thursday or so, print up a huge sheet of various nightclub flyers, which are usually basically the same heaviness and texture of postcards, and you can buy a spot on those sheets for really cheap. I mean, we're talking $120 for 3,000 postcards. So it's usually some sketchy guy, and you need to sort of know, you need to sort of figure out who that guy is. It's usually not a company, but find that guy and get tons of cheap postcards. They still have boxes and boxes.
Yeah,
Too many postcards.
The more you get, the cheaper it becomes,
Yep.
right? I'm sort of in a bit of a challenge now because I don't want to print. With Modra, I had a bit more money, so I printed 1,000 posters. Now, when you print 1,000, they end up costing you $1 a poster. And I wild posted the streets, which was really, really fun, and riding around and seeing the posters made us really happy. But this year, I can't really do that, so I'm looking to print maybe 15 posters just to kind of have around the festival, but each poster is costing me like $35.
Yeah, I found that it's like often cheaper to print 2,000.
Yes, yes.
So just make sure you have closet space.
Yes, it's often cheaper to, but then you don't want, I mean, that's the thing. I have like Modra and only posters that we're using for Christmas wrapping paper. I mean, it's just too much. So I'm trying to do a little differently. So I'll probably spend the $250 for fewer posters and see how it goes. But yes, the more postcards, the more posters you print, the cheaper it becomes, but it's a cash flow thing, right? Okay, what else can I want to say to you guys? Okay. Who has distributor? Who has a distributor on board already? All right. Okay. So, I mean, with Nurse Fighter Boy, we came into the festival with Mongrel attached. It is a different approach in the sense that there was much more banking of press. And you know what that, you understand that? That's clear to you. So there's a lot of press that happens during the film festival, but it's not released. Reviews aren't released. It's banked because the distributor's planning to do a theatrical, and that's when they all want all that stuff to go out. Now, with Modra, I didn't have a distributor going into the festival, so anybody that was remotely interested in that film, I was incredibly thankful to. So if someone wanted to interview me or they wanted to write something or they wanted to do whatever, I was just happy that they took an interest and that maybe that would lead to some more audience coming to see the film. So I was wide open during the film festival. I talked to anybody, did any interview, and again, it was with the intention of getting people into seeing the film in the cinemas. And I was really told that when the theatrical release would come, those people would not write about the film again. That wasn't the case. I know exactly, because 11 is my lucky number, and we got 111 mentions, press mentions. Some were just mentions, some were reviews, articles, whatever, feature pieces. 111 pieces during the festival. And I mean, it wasn't, of course, as much during the release, but I still got coverage in the Globe and the Star and the National and the Sun, on blogs. I think that people want to write about, if something's happening and you make the film release an event and they like the film, they want to write about it. Maybe you don't get it in print, but maybe you get it online. Maybe you get it in different ways. So with a distributor, you have to hold back. And that's the more traditional way. When you're going into the festival on your own with shorts, there's no reason to hold back. I mean, you can talk to anybody about your film if it means that more eyeballs will get to see your work. With features that don't have distributors, I mean, you have to decide. For my film, my film is not a film to be precious with. My film is a film to be seen at the festival by as many people as possible because I don't know what's going to happen after. This is the known thing. So I'm not precious and I don't withhold. If someone wants to talk to me about it, I'll talk to them freely. And I do have a publicist, and I think that really helps. I mean, I've been through the festival a few times without a publicist, and it just becomes really hard to compete because the media, again, it's kind of like the publicists are dealing in bulk. So they're going to each journalist with 5 films. So it's really economical. It's really efficient for the media to talk to 5 different publicists, and they get information on 25, 30, 50 films. As soon as they have to deal with an individual, it becomes, you might not be at the top of their list. Doesn't mean they won't pay attention if you've got something to pitch that grabs their attention, but it just becomes a bit harder. Same with distributors. I mean, when we're on our own with our films, it becomes really tricky to rise above or even compete with the films that have the machinery around them. Sometimes it feels impossible, but it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible. I really believe that. It's not impossible. It just means you got to be a little bit disciplined. And you got to manage the partying, the receptions, the cocktails, the films, with making sure people know about your film and when it's screening. Really? Wow. Questions. Okay. Questions. Really? You guys have no questions? Yes.
I'm just curious how your strategy or however you go into the festival each year with a new film has sort of changed from having Only and having Modra and now having your new film, I'm a Good Person and Bad Person. Just in terms of how it's evolved, are you doing things differently? Are you going in with the attitude that you went in with Modra, or did you do something completely different on Only?
Well, no, I mean, for me, it's about I look at the film and I look at what I think is the best thing for the film. And maybe I'll make a film for $1 million that has stars, and then it will be my responsibility probably to have a US publicist, Canadian publicist, maybe a producer rep, get a sales agent on that film, and have my Canadian distributor in place. Different strategy. But my films are small. I mean, I'm so happy I'm in the Vanguard section. I made a film that's being programmed in the Vanguard section. So for me, it's about celebrating and getting as many people to see the film as possible. And if that leads to word of mouth and good press, then I'm going to react to that. For me, it's like how we're directing, we're responding to our actors, and we're reacting to things that are happening. So you kind of set it up as best you can. You plant the right seeds, you speak about it in the right way, you get a good poster that you're happy, that you're proud of. You don't like hand out your postcard and go like, ugh, it's not actually what I really wanted. Like I really didn't want, that cheesy poster. You actually hand out a poster that you feel proud of, and you can put it out there with confidence. And then you gotta kind of see how it rolls out. And if it starts to roll favorably, you use that, you maximize that, because then there's a momentum that happens. And if it doesn't, you just do the best you can and enjoy the ride. But no, my approach hasn't really changed, because I just go step by step, Yeah. Two more things I want to say. Swag. Okay, my white leather bag of swag. Last year, again, 11 features at Tiff is the first time I got close to swag. I knew it was out there. It's one of those things, like, that stuff is out there. Like, the big stars are getting tons of stuff. Last year was the first year I got, like, a leather bag and some chocolates and, like, some lip balm or something. We were really excited. So, it doesn't all happen at once. It's not going to all just come down at once. So you guys are like here at the festival, you're going to be back again, and you just like learn what you can and get the most out of this film festival, and then just ride that wave into your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 10th feature film.